Hello. This tutorial is about SpaceX. It's our first article of the week. And the first thing that we do with our articles of the week is that we read them, obviously, and we're going to be taking some notes on a Cornell Notes organizer that looks like this. So you are going to need your copies of both of these documents ready to go, either in separate tabs, or if you want to split screen the Cornell Notes with this video, you can do that. But you might also want to have your copy of the article so that you can go back and read different parts of it that might not be on the screen for this video. Okay, so go ahead and get organized. All of those are linked in today's assignment. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is, with Cornell Notes, go ahead and type your name and the title and author of this article. The title of this article is SpaceX, and the author is right here in the corner of the image. Adrienne Zembauer is the author's name. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this with an article title. We're going to put quotation marks around it. SpaceX. It's not like a book. Books get italicized because they're longer text, but with an article it's short, and the rule is to put quotation marks around article titles. And the author is Adri. And I'm going to have to go back and look at her name. It was an unusual name. Zembauer. Z-E-M-B-O. Okay. And my name. Okay, so the way Cornell Notes work, it's a really easy way and a very effective way to organize your thinking when you're reading nonfiction. So this is something that would work for social studies, for science, and yes, even math when you have to take notes. It's basically two columns. On the left-hand side, the smaller column, sometimes it's vocabulary I'll ask you to put over here. Sometimes it's questions. Today it's headings. Headings are the sections of a nonfiction article. So, for example, this section has The Man on a Mission, Mission Possible, and Mission for the Future. Those are all headings which help organize and divide up the full text. So that's the way I have your Cornell Notes organized today. After you read each section of the article, to the right, this is where it's the bigger part of the organizer, where you're going to put down, write down any key facts or things that you have learned from each of those sections, things that you want to take notes on, something that you don't want to forget in case you might have a test on it, for example. So this is just a good way to organize your thoughts. So the first section is actually not a heading. It's just the introduction to the article. I'm going to read that, and I'm going to pause the video, and you'll come back to your organizer and you're going to take note. I would say for the length of these sections, 2, maybe 3 key facts. You don't have to write everything down, just the important facts, 2 to 3 for each section, okay? So let's read this. SpaceX. Look at that image before we start reading. This is from the video we saw. This is real. This is a Tesla that is, it's a roadster. It's actually Elon Musk's roadster. It's floating in space right now. And that's not a real person. That's a dummy that's dressed up like an astronaut. He's literally floating in space right now. And so we're going to read this article that it's going to explain what's going on there. Soft capture confirmed, reported Mission Control to the team at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Everyone clapped. Soon, 12 hooks reached out of the space capsule, Crew Dragon, to attach itself to the International Space Station, or the ISS, for a hard capture at 6:02 a.m. on March 3, 2019. This was the first privately owned space capsule to do so. It was a test flight, a key step in showing NASA that astronauts could one day be sent into space again from U.S. soil. Astronauts have not launched from the United States since NASA's space shuttle program was retired in 2011. Since then, the U.S. has relied on the Russian space program, Roscosmos, for space exploration. All right, so our goal here is to write down a couple of important pieces of information into the Cornell Notes, just the introduction. So as I'm looking at this, I see that NASA has not sent our space shuttle program, which is what we had when I was growing up and astronauts went into space, it was actually retired. They stopped doing that in 2011. And so we have not been sending anyone to space since then, until the SpaceX that was sent up. So this is kind of a big deal. So what I would put down in my notes is that NASA retired. That means to be done with it. Retired the space shuttle program in 2011. SpaceX is the first, let's go back and look because I want to use the words exactly the way they wrote it, is the first space capsule to go back into space from U.S. soil. I'm going to say, instead of to go into space, to be launched, because rockets are launched. So I want to use a good verb here. From the U.S. And I'm going to put one more fact, because I remember at the very end it said the U.S. has been working with Russia and with their program. Which is fine and all, but we'd like to have our own program, I think, and I think Elon Musk is thinking that too. So that's why he's really moving forward with his SpaceX program. So that's how it works. I'm only going to do an example for this first section just so you can see what I'm looking for. I could put periods on these because mine are complete sentences. So let me add that. And notice I only have 2 to 3 key facts from that section. All right, go ahead and pause the video if you haven't typed in your notes for the introduction, and then I'm going to go ahead to the Man on a Mission section. All right, this section, notice the picture, that's Elon Musk, and it's called the Man on a Mission. This is some biographical information about who he is. Elon Musk is a self-made billionaire, and that's with a B. He earned his fortune starting companies like PayPal and Tesla Motors. In 2002, Musk founded Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, also known as SpaceX. Musk has degrees in business and economics, but he has no formal training in aeronautics. Aeronautics, anything that has to do with flight, like airplanes and rockets. He doesn't have any training in that, which is interesting. The SpaceX mission is to enable humans to become a civilization and multi-planet species by building a self-sustaining city on Mars. So that's what he wants to do. He wants to build a city on Mars where humans can live. For now, SpaceX is focused on safely launching American astronauts into space again. Okay, so I want you to pause the video and go back to your Cornell notes. This time, you're going to be putting down key facts. I'm going to get the bullets. This is how you can find your bullets, so you can bullet your list. For the Man on a Mission, 2 to 3 facts about Elon Musk. Go ahead and pause the video and type in your details now. All right, the next section, the heading is called Mission Possible. And before I read, I want to look at this image here. It says SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft liftoff. So I'm imagining that this liftoff, this rocket here, is what this section is probably going to be referencing. In December of 2010, SpaceX made history. It became the first private company to launch a capsule into orbit for a test run. The SpaceX rocket Falcon 9 lifted off from Cape Canaveral, Florida. It carried the capsule into orbit with a secret package. 3 hours later, the capsule returned to Earth and landed gently in the Pacific Ocean. The capsule, Dragon, was named after Puff the Magic Dragon. This was because many didn't believe Musk could achieve this goal. What was the secret package that rode on the Dragon? A giant wheel of cheese. We flew into orbit and brought it back, so it was the world's first space cheese, said Musk. So that's kind of silly. He's got a sense of humor, naming his rocket Puff the Magic Dragon and sending cheese into space. It's interesting. Okay, we're going to go to the second page, still in the same section. In May of 2012, SpaceX made history again. The Falcon 9 rocket launched the Dragon with a load of cargo to meet the International Space Station. The ISS is a mobile lab that orbits the Earth. Astronauts live and work there, carrying out scientific experiments inside and outside of the large space laboratory. The Dragon capsule was the first successful cargo mission by a commercial, and that means it's not a government organization, it's a private company, by a commercial flight. The 1,200 pounds of cargo delivered was mostly food, clothing, and experiment supplies. The Dragon was tested while in orbit to make sure it could meet the ISS safely. When SpaceX felt confident, astronauts grabbed the capsule with a giant robotic arm to connect it to the Harmony portion of the space station. "It looks like we've got a dragon by the tail," said NASA astronaut Donald R. Petit as he operated the robotic arm. With the success of Falcon 9, SpaceX aimed to develop a more powerful rocket that could boost cargo into space. The new Falcon Heavy was tested in February of 2018. In true Elon Musk fashion, this test flight was unlike other test flights. Its cargo was Musk's own 2008 Tesla Roadster carrying a mannequin named Starman. The car is still orbiting in space today. So that is why we see that image at the very beginning of this article. That's Starman right there, and that's his Roadster that's being described in this section of the article. So what I'd like you to do is, there's a lot of information in that section. That's the longest section. You could probably find even 4 pieces of information to put in your Cornell notes. I'm going to pause the video so that you can write down some key details in your Cornell notes for for Mission Impossible. We're down to this section, Mission Possible. All right. Hopefully you've got 3 to 4 key facts there. Now we're going into the last section called Mission for the Future. The most recent test mission of the Crew Dragon on March 3, 2019 was huge for Elon Musk and SpaceX. It was proof they needed to show NASA and Roscosmos that they could be trusted to carry humans to the space station in the future. Inside the Dragon, a dummy astronaut was wired to send information back to SpaceX Mission Control. It included data about conditions inside the capsule to prove that a human could safely travel inside. The successful link up to the ISS without having to use the robotic arm was another big step for the team. Musk has his eyes on groundbreaking space travel, such as booking flights to send people to Mars. So when they say booking flights, that's like getting on an airplane. You know how you travel from one part of the country to the other? His idea is for humans to book flights on rockets and take them to Mars. And there's some images underneath this section that are interesting to look at. Over here to the right, I'm reading this text here. It says, March 1st, 2019, via Twitter, when this plush Earth toy floats during the flight, it indicates zero gravity inside the capsule. Oops. Let me get back to that. Sorry about that, having a little Wi-Fi issue. A dummy astronaut named Ripley, if you look very carefully, you can see him in the picture, also made the trip back, packed with sensors to send data about the flight conditions back to SpaceX Mission Control. And so there's the little toy, the little Earth, and then Elon Musk wrote, super high-tech zeroing indicator added just before launch. So he's kind of joking around here, saying how high-tech this is, and it's just a little toy. So when it's floating, they'll know that there is zero gravity. Underneath, we have 2 more images. To the left, it says the SpaceX Dragon pauses near the ISS to allow the robotic arm to reach it and pull it in. So there's the dragon down here at the bottom, and then there's the robotic arm from the International Space Station that's going to pick it, grab it, and then pull it in with all the supplies and cargo. We read about that. And then this last image is the actual, if you were to book a flight, this is what Elon Musk wants it to be like. So you would get in this capsule, and it looks like it's called Dragon V2 to travel, for astronauts to travel to the International Space Station, and it can hold 7 passengers. So you can see 5 of the seats right there, and that is pretty cool. So our last section is Mission for the Future. You're going to write down a few facts from this section. You can also include information that go along with the images too. It doesn't just have to be from that paragraph. I'm going to let you go ahead and pause the video, and we'll come back for the summary. Okay, so now you should have, give me a second. You should have your notes that go along with each of the sections, the headings. The last thing that you do is you look back over your notes, all the details that you included, and write a 1 to 2 sentence summary of what you learned or what this article is mainly about. Just a little summary, the who, the what, the when, and the why if you want to. Looking at these headings are helpful when you're summarizing, because they are basically the main ideas of the whole article. So that might be helpful when you go down here just to tell me what this article is mainly about. And once you've typed your summary, you can turn in your Cornell notes, and you are finished with today's assignment.